All right, we are into Champ Select G2 versus TSM. Perkz versus his former AD carry, as you did put it. Looking to see who's going to come out on top of the Heimerdinger ban. The respect ban.
Instantly.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen, if Heimerdinger wins another Best in the West 2v2,
It's just OP.
It's unstoppable. We
Yeah.
had the
There's no counterplay
there has
to
to be a
Heimerdinger.
permanent 2v2 ban list that we update every year.
We need some balance changes in here.
All right, well, the Nico has proven to be quite strong. Obviously, sustained damage on the Sage Splitter, plus the burst from the rest of the kit. The Vel'Koz taken away as well. So we are going to see something at least semi-new in this game. What are the new options going to be?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if Zyra and Syndra get banned away, because those have been pretty popular as well. And both those are still up right now. Lux is going to be banned out by G2. So TSM probably going to take away Syndra or Zyra unless they actually want to kind of play that as well. I do think that the mages certainly favor G2, as Perkz is such an experienced player, you know, on that. Being a mid laner, being one of the best mid laners in the world, certainly he has a lot more experience playing that sort of a style than Zven.
Absolutely. And I think Zven has shown some proficiency to adapt here historically,
Yeah.
but this has been exclusively about the 2v2 mage matchup. And I mean, Perkz is really one of the only people in the world with an immense amount of experience, at least from a bot lane perspective, with these champions. Karma, Syndra would be par for the course thus far. Perkz really loves this Syndra. It didn't feel nearly as impactful as I thought it would be in the matchup versus Reckless and Hylissang. The all-ins with the ultimate, when it was only 3 or 4 balls, just weren't. They didn't pack as much of a punch as I expected them to.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty early game. You know, they don't have a ton of items, so, you know, it's not just going to be a straight-up one-shot or anything like that. But Syndra has even been really popular at All-Stars when you think back to a lot of the 1v1 tournaments and that sort of thing, because you get a lot of control of the mini-wave. You have good wave clear. You can zone people out with your Q, with your W. And certainly able to land the stuns through the wave. But Zven, going back to more traditional marksman, so probably going to be, my guess would be the poke Comet build. Just go Q-Max and see if they can kind of fight fire for fire. There is also the option of doing something like an E-Max if you want. E does guarantee the Comet does land, so at least probably going to start E. And we'll see if they can actually, you know, battle back poke for poke against Perkz and Miky here. I mean, you certainly have the ability, I think, to match poke fairly well with this sort of a composition. And, you know, having Zven on a marksman where he's going to be super comfortable probably gives you a better chance to actually compete as far as the farm goes as well, I would think. But their wave clear certainly should be a lot weaker, I think, in the early game too, compared to that of the Syndra.
But also, I mean, one of the nice things about Varus as a champion is that he's known for getting that lane priority. So maybe we do see, it's a better match than a lot of AD carries in that case.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
It does feel like a nice compromise between playing a mage and playing an AD carry that will still offer a lot of similar things. And I love the Syndra conversation because, you know, the fact that she doesn't have to stop moving when she casts her Q just makes her so frustrating to play against.
Yeah.
Not having that cast animation can make it quite brutal. Varus, though, has to be careful. I think if we see the piercing arrows come out, if you're slowing yourself down in this game, there's a lot of potential burst, and it's pretty easy for Syndra to land a stun in that context.
Yeah, it's certainly the case, which is maybe why he could go potentially an E-Max or something along those lines and just rely more on the kind of hill of arrows there to land a lot of poke. You can see TSM is doing double Comet, G2 going double Airy here. So looking more for kind of that consistent damage compared to what TSM is reaching for. The Karma Q slow is pretty impactful, so you know that will likely help you get that Comet off more often than not. But you know, G2 going to be able to proc Airy much more frequently and try to weave in those autos to try to get that down. But you can see them already positioning super far up. Going to be looking to just have wave control, shoving this in, landing a couple of spells already.
And the Hail of Arrows for Zven does a little bit of work, but it just honestly just cannot match Karma's early levels of wave clear. The mantra, the Soul Flare coming off the Q there is just nigh impossible to compete with, and it's a difficult spot if they want to put money into Zven's pockets, because Smoothie is actually the best option they have for clearing these creeps out.
Yeah, definitely the case. I mean, Smoothie used his mantra before the creeps even spawned, just trying to poke into that bush that they thought they might be in, and a lot of poke landed there on Perkz. Going to be popping his first charge of the Corrupting Potion, but yeah, I mean, Miky is actually using a lot of his Qs just on the wave, right? He uses his mantra Q just on the range minions to try to actually just shove in that wave. It is pretty hard to CS under turret when you have these double range champions trying to poke you and trying to harass you, so they're kind of counting on the fact that TSM will likely be missing a lot of these minions under the turret.
Absolutely, and once again, we're put in a position where we can see one team starting to build a CS advantage. And that will inevitably force the other team to try and find the all-in. Of course, Varus ult is super impactful in this game. If he's allowed to sustain auto attack, he can get the Blight passive off. He has the potential to do a lot of damage. Downside is his mana cost is quite high, so can't really sustain the poke as much as the Karma or necessarily the Syndra can.
Yeah, but I mean, thus far, they're treating poke pretty well. You know, Perkz has actually used 2 charges of his Corrupting Potion. So has MikyX. So the additional one sitting there for Zven. A potion still around here for Smoothie. So TSM is actually doing quite well on the poke. And, you know, you hit that E, you guarantee the comment onto Perkz. And Perkz is, you know, getting pushed around a decent bit by that poke. He's out of the Corrupting Potion charges. And they don't have the wave in a spot where TSM is going to get a, you know, kind of too punished by a recall. So Perkz is going to have to stay around for now, but Smoothie does take the worst end of that trade with Mickey.
Absolutely. But we can see this is already a much closer game than we've seen in the past few, in the sense that one team hasn't just rocketed off to such a dominant start that it feels like CS is the easy out and we're waiting to see if they handshake on all inning towards the end. Instead, we have a much closer game.
Yeah, TSM up, you know, a couple minions, but there's more for G2 to get. So G2 likely, if they get all these, will be ahead.
Damage down on the Sven. Soulflare fires back, though, and in the end, I mean, just trading once again these healing resources.
And, you know, they do have the additional biscuit on the side of TSM, right? So both those guys are sitting on this. You can see Perkz is actually going to get pushed back to base here. Doesn't want to just have to use that heal defensively. So TSM should get the better recall. You know, should be able to actually shove this in. We'll see how much of this farm Mickey does grab. But Zven already heading back to base. Smoothie staying around just to steal away the health pack and make sure that there's no potential freeze from Mickey. And he will look for the reset now as well. It's a little bit scary if you're Mickey to try to go over there, A, because you're missing farm, and B, because if they're kind of setting a trap, you could actually take too much damage. So double longsword and boots here for Zven. You know, there's an ability to actually dodge out from some of these skill shots and also kind of chase down if you are in the advantage. And also, you know, a fair bit of AD going to be helping with this kind of poke style build that he is playing.
Yeah, getting that first bit of lethality, if that's what he does want to go for, will be a big game changer. Not really a lot of defensive options on either side. And you can see that CS is nearly dead even. TSM will approach the wave a little bit late, but we'll be able to balance it out right here.
Yeah, it's actually pretty much almost exactly even if they do actually farm out all of these minions on both sides. G2 did miss a little bit as they were pushed back to base earlier, so good shields, honestly, so far from Smoothie. He's been pretty on point with actually blocking a lot of that poke, and because Mickey and Perkz are playing more on opposite sides of the map, it's been harder for Mickey to kind of have that well-timed shield to protect Perkz from some of the poke coming in from Zven.
But now Mickey stepping forwards, TSM using a lot of those cooldowns, Varus with a piercing arrow in that exchange. That means that they do have to back off the wave. We'll see if coming through there. And so a small CS advantage built up for G2, but at the end of the day, TSM feels like we'll still be able to take the lead when this wave does crash.
Yeah, they should be able to pick up most of this. It just really depends how they do in the farm. And some of that is certainly getting missed. You can see a lot of these minions are getting softened up as well, so they actually missed quite a bit. And as a result, G2 ahead.
Ignite coming through. Mantra Q is not going to connect. That Soulflare will miss, and Smoothie now on the chase. Perkz, of course, incredibly low on mana, as using that last Corrupting Potion stack. That's stepping forward, but they don't really have any follow-up here.
Yeah, and they were kind of chasing past, seeing if they could get anything more, but you know, as a result, they're going to lose some of those minions. Both summoners are gone off of Mickey as well as Smoothie. Very close game thus far. It looks like TSM are trying to now push in and reset. You can see Smoothie was actually queuing that back line of ranged minions. So, you know, trying to allow them to have that shove, to have the push advantage. And it does make it always very difficult if you're trying to trade back then as G2, especially if there's a cannon wave available. Those do actually put out quite a significant amount of damage, especially in the early levels. And TSM is now 6 on both members, so it is possible, you know, to look for something if they could actually hit a Varus ultimate on Mickey, but very unlikely with how healthy he is and his positioning under a turret.
Yeah, it can very easily just play very far back. Syndra, of course, a pretty decent range herself. Easy to snag these creeps, get CS, even in this less than advantageous situation. Ulti does connect, but it puts him under the tower. Perkz incredibly low. Have to respect the hail of arrows, though. It's not going to connect. Perkz needs to back off, so it's all eyes on Mickey to CS well here under the tower without losing his life.
Yeah, no panic at all for Perkz, though. Again, not even pressing the heal, but... Oh, I like this from Zen. You don't even actually have to shoot at him, but you stop the recall, and Mickey got one of the farm. Is he going to get this one too? Probably. So, you know, they do make them lose a little bit of farm. TSM are going to be able to push this in, and, you know, the farm is very, very close. It's just how much of this can Mickey get? Because there's 7 additional minions. TSM is up 3, so he could be 4 CS ahead if he does farm this perfectly. But TSM will go back to base and, you know, are setting up for a potential kill. If they can get the kind of Varus ultimate back, you can see lethality has been purchased up, 2 more long swords. He still has both of his biscuits available. So Zven has so much sustain now coming back to lane, and likely he'll have to stay out on the map until the game ends. As you know, there's kind of too much farm already in the hands of G2 to reset again.
Yeah, 79 now to 73, doing what they can to hold that wave, deny some of these minions as the enemy minions, TSM's own minions, kind of betraying them there to kill those melees. Honestly, this game is just a slow grind between both teams. Small decisions about how to control the wave have really mattered a lot for both sides. Mickey now feeling quite confident to step forward, but Zven, both summoners still up and available. It's the same story for Perkz on the opposite side.
Yeah, and we even see that a biscuit is available there for Mickey. They're actually trying to hold this cannon and make it push against TSM. TSM have got to step up and continue to actually fight for these minions. I mean, they're down 7, so if you can't find an all-in very, very soon, you are just going to lose off of CS. The ultimate for Perkz, very ineffective there, so TSM should be able to step forward. Remember, they do have the Varus ultimate up. Perkz has both his summoners. TSM looking to try to set up some sort of freeze, but the 2 minions only. Is that a cannon wave? It is not. They will be able to build up a little bit of a freeze. We'll see how much of this actually pushes. Unfortunately for TSM, it's a cannon wave for them, so it's not even going to freeze. It's actually going to push to G2 still.
Maybe if you can zone them off long enough, you can get the next wave to spawn, get access to a few more creeps, but G2 aren't even that concerned about the all-in. It's going to come down to this ultimate from Sven. If he can connect it, maybe they can find the 2 kills. Has to step forward, the flash out, forced away.
Just 5 minions remaining. They just need to get these last couple. They don't even need to fight.
A lot of damage coming in. Perkz has to be careful. The eyes are on the minion. The heals are now coming out. Mickey's just walking into the creep wave.
One more.
Close it out here. That's going to be it. G2 taking the title.
Best in the West bot lane here. Perkz and Mickey able to claim it. Out farming Zven and Smoothie here. That was a close one. I have to say that was probably our closest one in the end. But Perkz and Mickey farming out just a little bit better there. Do eke out the win.
Yeah, good look overall. I like that it was neck and neck. I want to see this, and of course, the fight for the minions.
Yeah, and it really all just came down to that. You know, TSM knew they needed to try to go for an all-in. Perkz had a good flash on the Varus ult, though, so they weren't able to pull that off. And then with only a couple of minions remaining, G2 is able to just basically run in TSM's face and just try to knock down those last couple minions to claim themselves those sweet belts.
And really, I think it came down to that instance where we saw the all-in before, where they're not able to burn any summoners from Perkz with the first Sven ult. Because if that flash wasn't there and they connect that ult, maybe that's the all-in that they're looking for. But Perkz stays cool-headed, doesn't burn any sums, and in the end, I feel like that wins them the game.
Yeah, but I did like the Varus. I think the Varus, made quite a bit of sense there from Zven. It felt like, probably you're not going to win in like a Syndra versus Syndra against Perkz, probably. So, you may as well go for something that's a little bit more your style, and it felt like that did fit quite well. But Perkz and Mickey played it out really, really well, and they've been absolutely beasting in the bot lane this whole tournament, really this whole year. So, not too surprising to see them coming out on top in this one.
Best in the West, and as you mentioned, weren't really rated that highly in the fan rankings as well. Some of us may have put him a bit low on our top 20 list. We might still be living with that flame from the community. But to hear more from the Best in the West, let's send it down to Riv for an interview.
Thank you, gentlemen. What a riveting exhibition we just had, and I have your 2v2 grand champions right here in front of me. G2 eSports, Perkz. And MikyX, congratulations on the victory. Are we pounding? We are. Gentlemen, congratulations. Obviously, the most intense win to take a 2v2. You went for minions. What was the thought process coming into Champion Select?
Okay, so the thought process is that usually, I watched it last year, right? And everyone plays for the CS because it's the most, the easiest way to win. I mean, the most safest way to win. Because if, let's say opponents don't die to your all-in strats or whatever, then you would just automatically lose. So, well, we decided we might as well be the better CSers at the tournament then.
Absolutely riveting play. Coming to you, what kind of was the decision looking at how you were going to take these down? Do you guys play quite a bit? You know it was just going to be an easy duo to go into this matchup?
Well, we just kind of thought of 5 champions that have long range and just kind of mages. And Syndra is really OP and Luca is really good at Syndra. So we just thought if we get Syndra, it's free win. And now we're just kind of playing whatever was open, I guess. So I played Zyra and Karma, which are like long range. And yeah, I was hoping we could get some kills. We only got 1 out of 2 games, so that's kind of sad, but maybe next time.
And how often you actually kind of 1v1, 2v2 solo? Do you guys ever go against each other? It seems like you have really good bot lane synergy.
We 1v1, 2v2. Okay, we don't really 1v1, I think, on the team. We do it like for our G2 content, I guess, sometimes when they force us to. And we played some 2v2s Mimic in the past with like other bot lanes, but it was like not this kind of 2v2s. It was more like to practice matchups. And here we just practice like, I guess, CSing. So yeah, I mean, usually the 2v2s we play are pretty fun because there's like 10 kills in like 10 minutes, but this one is like 0 kills. So yeah, in general, I think me and Mickey played great. We had the synergy of CSing going in our bases. So it's all about the smart play rather than like pure mechanical outplays. And that's okay too. That also shows the greatness in us, I guess.
Well, there you go. You have the belts on the left side. Let's hold those belts up for the fans to see. G2 eSports taking the 2v2 tournament. Give these guys a round of applause. We're going to throw it back to the casters to end out the day.